Yo, what's up, brother Muzone? Alright. Alright. And just making sure we got everything set up. Alright. Hey, what's up, guys? How's everyone doing? Okay, I think we're good to go now. Alright, let's see here. You got a nasty thunderstorm? Yo, what's up, bro? How are you doing, Vale? What's up, Denzel Johnson? How you doing, man? What do you mean by broken shit? Crossbow? What are you referring to? Thanks for the donation, by the way. Really appreciate that. But what do you... I'm not sure I get your question. I don't know what you're referring to. What's up, Kayobe? I roll right into that. And insane fucking luck by this guy. Oh my god, I'm playing so bad. We're almost gifting him the win. Alright, I have to focus now. Actually pretty dangerous. Well, the blue is here. I almost gifted him the win. That was almost a horrible start. All it takes is like one moment of like not paying attention and one Elden Ring bullshit to be like near that. Because the elevation pretty much saved them from a nasty hit, and then he also played pretty poorly at first, so it was almost pretty bad actually. You said you were changing your build to the broken shit post Tarnished edition. Oh yeah, I'm gonna remake my inventory and change my build a little bit. If you thought you've seen me using broken shit, you haven't seen anything yet. There's a bunch of shit in this game that's like I didn't really feel using to this point because it makes you a worse player, but I'm probably gonna start using it after Tarnished Edition. Because that's probably going to be like actually the last time. Or the final moment where we're not gonna get like a patch or anything anymore. Okay, let's refight him again. This time this time let's be a little more convincing. Oh my god, and it starts with some bullshit. There we go, that's a little more convincing. Look at this blue. And he backs off afterward. Almost Nightreign time worms. Yeah, Nightreign, even though I'm not particularly hyped for it, it's gonna be nice to have a little change of pace for a little bit, for like a week at least. If we have to pay the armor. I don't think so, but I mean, I'm not sure anymore. Thank you, game. Okay, let's go in. Thanks for the donation, whoever that is. I'm gonna check it out afterward. At my input there. Yo, Nolan, thank you so much, dude. Holy shit, man. Thank you so much for the donation. God damn, dude. I appreciate your content so much, always providing laugh and indulging in your cynical side of humor. I'm glad there's still a few of us out there. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yes, cynical is most definitely the flavor of this channel, and that's for sure. You check out the new Mortem trailer? No, I have not, Odium. I'm gonna be honest with you, Odium. When I made a, when we check out that trailer on stream, it looked cool. I put that part of the stream in one of the dailies, like just to shine a light on some indie game while seeing if people are interested. And I actually got a copyright claim from the Ad Mortem trailer, so I'll be honest with you, you don't get that with any game trailer. So it's on them. It's on the people that make this game. So I'm not gonna cover it, I'm not gonna care about it, and I'm not gonna touch it. If they're too stupid to do that, like, I'm not touching them. Like, even Nintendo doesn't do that. I don't know if I'm gonna do Oblivion later, Vale. I think so, but I'm not sure yet. It's gonna depend on how tired I am. Johnny Mango, guys, the one and only. You think the Tarnished edition is going to add much stuff? I don't think it's gonna add much. I think it's gonna add like 4 armors, 4 weapons. Was it 2 horse skins, something like that? 2 or 3 horse skins. And I think that's gonna be it, honestly. I don't think there's anything else to it. I'd love to be wrong on that. Like, I'd love to be pleasantly surprised, you know? But realistically, that's what they announced, and I think that's what we're getting. Or armors that look better than 99% of the current ones. Yeah. Yo, Scooby, how you doing, man? Thank you so much for the donation again. Wish you studied ganking in college. That sounds illegal, if I'm gonna be honest. If ganking was a thing in real life, it would be illegal. Armor sets having less poise with whole set in BG tally than Solitude Chest alone. How much poise is Solitude Chest? Nah, dude, it's not less than 43, bro. Come on, Ongun, I thought you were onto something. No, like the helmet, like Ongun, the heavy helmet from one of the thing they announced has 13 poise. Like, 13 poise is basically Lionel. I'm not expecting the rest of the armor to be like that, but, like, if the helmet is 13 poise, that's going to be a usable helmet. So at least we have a usable new helmet. And also, you know, there's nothing stopping you from strapping in, like, bull goat leggings, bull goat gauntlets, you name it. So, like, if the helmet is 13 poise, I assume the chest piece is probably gonna be like minimum, like, scaled armor. Let's see, scaled armor is like 30 poise. There you go. Wait, I tanked the full thing. But I dodged it. Okay, let's try... I'm actually curious. I want to try something here. I just want to test something. Thank you, game. Just ate my input while in the menu. Oh. I wanted to see, like, Radon versus Dueling Shield. Like, to see if the Dueling Shield, like, prevented the Ash. Apparently, we won't know. Probably would have been a risky risky spot to test it, but yo, Scooby, thanks again for the donation. At that point, we'll be ganking with Murky and Light Roll. I've actually been thinking about that, like, if I should give Light Roll another shot for invasions. There's any, like, use to the Light Roll. Because, quite frankly, with BHS in this game, like, you know, Light Roll is better than BHS, like, for sure. But, like, the reason why the best invasion build that we came up with in Dark Souls 3 was Light Rolling was because you didn't have access to anything like Light Roll in Dark Souls 3. And also, you did a lot more damage with the Flynn Ring in Dark Souls 3 as well. So those were, like, two good reasons to go lightweight. Whereas here in this game, I mean, if you want to do, like... Oh, dude, I almost jumped in there. If you want to do, like, that big damage, you can actually just swap the Rakshasa armor. You don't need to... like, go no armor. There's very little benefit to being lightweight in this game. What the fuck? Oh. I was about to say, like, what the hell happened? No, Odium, I'm not gonna send you anything because, quite frankly, I don't have time to do any of that bullshit. I don't want to interact with them. I don't care about them. It's not my business. It's their problem, not mine. Like, YouTube has a feature now where you can remove the claim audio with some AI tools, which is honestly pretty good. That's a great addition. Yo, Scooby, thanks again for the donation, man. Do we deserve another story of Ganker? Well, I don't want them to be saved, so let's just say no. I don't want any outplayed and saved. I think he fell off? No, he didn't. So we can jump here, okay. Didn't know that. I feel a lot more comfortable here. Insane DC, dude. There you go. They killed one. By the way, does anyone in chat know by heart the damage in PvP for two-handed sword tally versus retaliatory cross tree? I think retaliatory cross tree does more on crouch attack than two-handed tally, right? But I forgot what the number is actually, like the actual PvP damage number for each one of them. Isn't it like 8% for two-handed and like... Actually, I forgot. Two-handed tally's better? Is it? What are the percentages though? Retaliatory cross tree is 12% in PvP. Okay, so that's what I thought. But I wasn't sure if it was 12% PvE. So 12% PvP. Okay, 12% PvP, and I think two-handed is 8, right? So it's like a 4% difference. It's 10% for two-handed, okay, and 12% for crouch. Thanks, I'm gone. Appreciate that. Okay, so I was off by 2%. Yo, Scooby, thanks for the donation again. Thanks a lot, man. The source is the Amelia inventory tool website. Yeah, that's... I always use the Amelia's tools as a reference. I just forgot what it was. Yeah, the two-handed is better. Like, you know, if it was 8%, you know, like a 4% difference for crouch, we could have a conversation, but like at the 2% difference, like you said, it's just better to have it for all your attacks. I just wanted to like double check again, basically. Okay, what do you have? Good fight. Yo, Johnny Mango. Dude, is it the same Johnny Mango that was being edgy like fucking a few minutes ago? Thanks for the resub, man. Great name, by the way. No, it's not? Okay. No? Okay. We actually killed a Johnny Mango that was doing a, I don't know which gesture it is, but like he was like leaning next to a fog gate. I thought that was funny. Yo, Kyle, how you doing, bro? Haven't seen you in forever, man. How you doing? Dude, what have you been up to? How does the chilling mist swap work? Poison mist work only on guts. Like the idea is that the Gugs Ultra, it just does a lot of damage on strength with these infusion, whether it's poison or frost. So it's like one of those weapons that's worth to have with chilling mist, for instance. That's why I use it. Working. Haven't really been playing video games. Yeah, same here, man. Honestly, like it's a lot tougher these days. Also, like there's talks in the US for like changing the Canada to US tax treaty, which would basically like cut the streaming revenue by 50% if that passes. So that would definitely hurt me a lot. Kind of dependent on my streaming revenue right now. This guy was just swinging. Love team duels like back in the day. Unfortunately, FromSoft prefers scrubs and casuals. Dude, I'd love if they introduce fucking team invasions in their games again. Honestly, that's the best thing that could happen to these games, in my opinion, PvP wise at least. Yo, what's up, Alluvial? How you doing, bro? But yeah, what about you guys in chat? Like, I don't know for you, but I feel like it's actually, I don't want to get into that. I didn't say anything. Let's just fucking play the game. Whatever. Edging us, dude. You know, it's my specialty to like start a subject, just stop mid-sentence, and never talk about it again. That's basically my specialty at this point. Of course, casuals get the first priority. Of course they do, I mean. I think the problem is that we, I think we want something out of From Software games that they're not really ready to provide. You know? Like this whole PvP thing, they stumbled upon this nugget of gold that they're not exploiting. We see it, we can touch it, but they don't know what they have in their hands. Even though you hate Gooner games, you enjoy AI Limit. Thanks for the donation again, Scooby, man. Appreciate that a lot. Isn't the AI Limit the weight game? Oh, he's a gamer. What about this one? This one's a gamer too. Oh, yeah, the lat is real. Okay, we're gonna have to... Do we have to take our time here? I don't actually know. Oh my god, the damage. There you go. Oh. From needs money. From parent company wants money. Of course, they'll focus more on casual. The proof is the more recent titles. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you, like, if Nightreign isn't a cash grab, I don't know what a cash grab is. Hopefully it's good enough to warrant the purchase price. You know, I'm not that negative about Nightreign, because to me the concept is really appealing. The execution is just not quite there from what we've played in the network test. There's like a few features are missing, like the character customization, you know, with the armors. Like I feel like that would have been a perfect scenario to introduce a lot more of that. But either way, it's gonna be fun to like branch out a little bit. Odium, I don't give a shit about them. Stop bringing them up. Stop hitting them up. Like, I don't care about them. Let them do them. I don't care. Asman is the face of every of Elden Ring PvE Gutner Scrubs. He made a clown of himself debating you and Steel. I mean, to be honest, I think we missed an opportunity. We could have done a lot more there. I take that as an L on my part. I think we missed a very good chance to leverage something. You just watch Seriously Casual's parry guide? I wouldn't call this a parry guide. It's a fucking backstab guide, or let's say a crit guide. It's such a good vid. Like, I'm gonna be honest, like probably the best vid we've had on crit, like in any Souls game. Like I was actually like impressed by by his whole vid, because you know, like we've had a bunch of fucking crit vids over the years, and it's always people who are not that great that make them. They do a bunch of errors, very inaccurate. Every single point that he touched on, like, let me tell you, everything he talks about is highly accurate. It's very good. Very good vid. If you care about this game, watch Filthy Casual's good vid. It's very, very good. Every invasion build will need range too. Yeah, that's true. Absolutely correct. In fact, like I keep repeating myself that the best invasion weapon is the Golem Great Bow. You know, it's not like entirely true, but it is absolutely true. What I mean by that is that if you try to mainly play, like for instance right now, I could be playing with this Frost Gugs, could win my invasion. I'm gonna risk getting in fights, I risk getting blendered. Or if I don't do that, I could have pulled out the Golem here. Could have been dangerous actually. Not sure anymore. Oh my god, I thought I could walk out of this one. The bad spot here. Well, that's a kill. And a Frostbrock here. But yeah, like in this invasion here, like, you know, I got hit a few times, risk getting killed a few times because I got involved at range, or sorry, at close range. Whereas if I just use Golem, I would have been keeping a safe distance throughout the whole encounter. and then eventually I could have gotten like a kill off a ledge while risking practically nothing or risking very little. Although, like, Golem isn't necessarily like the best for every map, but tools like that like will win you an invasion more often than trying to outplay 3 people. The only reason why you can outplay 3 people is that the difference in skill is like massive. Like if the people you're fighting are really bad and you're very experienced at the game, then you have a chance. If you're still very good at the game but the people you're fighting are somewhat decent, your chances of winning are so much lower. And if you're fighting players of your caliber, quite frankly, your chances of winning are very slim. The only thing that plays for you when you're fighting people of your caliber, and I say that from Dark Souls 3 experience, is that the good players, like the really good players, they'll be confident in their own skills, and so they'll engage by themselves while their teammates are not around. And that gives you an opportunity to win. Whereas, let's say someone that's not quite as good or quite as confident, or a little more shameful, or shameless, I should say, they're going to be sticking to their teammate, and then your chances of winning are really fucking slim to none. Shameless players are the hardest to beat. Absolutely, dude. Like, you know, we're talking about invasions here because in invasions, if you're playing shameless and you're ganking, this game gives so many tools to like guarantee a victory if you have the numbers advantage, or if you know if you're with the host team, that the invader really has to go above and beyond to win these sort of invasions. Yo, Drunk, how you doing, bro? Nice to see you. Yeah, nice to see you here, man. Like YouTube streaming better? YouTube? I don't know if I like it better. It's a lot more trouble to set up, but you know, I haven't been doing it long enough. Well, I mean, really the only idea is that this this gets more revenue than just doing the Twitch. But I mean, the reason why I'm doing it is that Steel told me it does, so I trust him. Yo, what's up, Steel? I don't know what you mean. Every 3v1 ever, you're playing on the hardest bracket, level 20, and you're extremely good at throwing rod bots. I don't know why that's so funny, man. Oh. You got some sort of nightclub going. At least, you know, you get a lot of, like, fake duels. At least these guys actually picked the actual dueling spot. Okay, sloppy start, but it's okay. I'm gonna play more careful. I say that as I'm about to fucking get shitted on. Here you go. Like sloppy right now today. There you go. Well played, whoever that was. You played well. I didn't play well, but no, you did well. Are you gonna try to cheese me with reverse quick step? perfect. I don't care what anyone says. Okay, now we need to be careful because he is on physic and we're not, so he has a huge advantage. According to the math we did a while ago, it's 1,000, equivalent of 1,000 more HP. That was perfect. That was weird. Little Skippy. Why is Skippy? That's scary. Yeah, he is lagging right now, I think. Yeah. I'm scared of the skips because they're very constant. Yeah, look at that. That's actually unplayable if I'm being honest. It's like PC connection. Let's finish this. Yeah, very bad connection this guy had. Like, you know, doesn't matter where you live when you're skipping like that. There's a problem with either your wife, you're on Wi-Fi, or like you have a problem with your ISP or on your property, something like that. It's crazy how you can leverage great katana speed timing. What do you think of Steel, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3 PvP gameplay? Dude, like, I don't watch, like, Steel's Dark Souls 2 or Dark Souls 3 content. Like, we don't really watch each other that much. Like, we hang out with each other, but we don't necessarily watch each other's content. Thanks for the donation, though. Appreciate. You plan to mainly do Elden Ring content till the next big FromSoft game? Well, I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know. Everything is in the air. Like, I have like no particular like plan other than just following the current of the. You know, you just flow with water. You know, you just go with whatever comes along. Like we got Nightreign right now. We got Oblivion out of nowhere made a few, like, let's say, character creation content out of Oblivion. I love that. That was a lot of fun. You know, just go with what comes out. But yeah, obviously the bulk of our channel is the From Software stuff, so ooh. close. I missed that. Stop it. I had to BS that. Thank you, Elden Ring lock-on. I missed that. Okay. I was trying to see like how I could reliably BS that. I think the first two attempts we could have gotten it if we were like a little more precise. Third one was just bad, but yeah. Still enjoy PvP even though gankers will be gankers. What's unfortunate about Elden Ring and why I don't care as much about it, unlike like Dark Souls 3, was that, you know, the whole Dark Souls 3 thing with like multiple invaders being able to fight together, that really was what gave birth to this community aspect of invaders versus gankers. And it really like tapped into that base tribalism that we all have, like, you know, the invaders and the gankers, the two tribes going against each other. Elden Ring doesn't have that, because you can't really invade with someone else. The only time you can invade with someone else is if the gankers allow it. And if the gankers allow it, that means they're actually looking for somewhat of a more fair fight. Which, quite frankly, like, how can you dislike someone who's looking for a fair fight? So, like, you can't get that tribalism anymore of gankers versus invaders. And quite frankly, the actual gankers never allow for you to have, like, a teammate in there. If they allow it, it's because, you know, they think they can beat the worst players that are in there. Like, for instance, sometimes we get gankers that wait in their world with like a scrub in there, like someone that they could just kill in like 2 hits, and like they wait for like, let's say me or Steel to get in there, and then they close the tongue as soon as we get in. So we technically got a 2v2 with like some of the worst fucking teammate you could ever got. Like, some gankers actually do that. But I mean, we see what they do, you know, they're not fooling anyone. If this is the only place where you hear tribalism is a good thing, hey man, it's part of that fun. Like, you have to understand human behavior if you want to understand like what's fun in video games. That's definitely part of it. Yo, he actually... He lagged to like skip that. That was so whack. Dude, that was a nice punish. Careful, there's a blue now. Like, we have to be careful. We cannot, like, play careless here, even if these guys are not amazing. These situations can be dangerous. Where's the host at? I missed that, like, big time. I mean, this guy. Amazing fight. Yo, Clevy, how you doing, man? Best invasion weapon? Yeah. I'd say best invasion weapon, but to be honest, like if you're using different builds, like for instance, the giant flame take D like big fireball is like insanely fucking good. Like it's a, let's say it's a little harder to land, but the reward when you land that thing is so like it's so powerful that you can win invasions like with just one fireball. Oh, come on. That was cute, guys. That was cute. Yo, let me rewatch that. What the hell? Yeah, we were out of the menu. Did you guys see that? Oh my god. Did you guys catch that? Dude, we drank the fucking blessing while out of our menu. Like, it was queued for so damn long. That's crazy. I don't know if you guys caught that. I've never seen that, honestly. I mean, you can't really do anything. So for those of you who missed it, what happened was, you know, I mean, I was stupid to go in there, but either way, like, I went in there, and then I tried to drink my blessing, and so I got hit while attempting to drink the blessing. Then I got out of my menu to, like, try to continue fighting, and then the character drank the blessing on its own while I was out of the menu. Like, I was not even, like, in here, like, trying to drink it. And so, like, it queued the blessing drinking animation even after I got hit. I like, you know, we know queued inputs are a thing, but this is like one of the most like insane one I've seen because it was like a solid like second or two. Oh, Kevin, what are you doing? It actually ate my input. KH, like you say that game would be fun. Game wouldn't be fun without gankers. Problem with Elden Ring is that you can't have gankers in Elden Ring, because if you have gankers, you can't have that tribalism because you're always by yourself. And the moment you're by yourself versus 3 people in this game is GG. There's no fight, there's no competition, there's no chances. You're pretty much done. So this whole like ganking situation is an illusion in this game. That was my point earlier. It's like that's what we're missing. Gankers can do whatever the fuck they want with you if there's 3 of them in there and you're alone. Like, that's the point. Like, in Dark Souls 3, because you had that extra player in there, you could have a chance against these gankers. Like, let's put it that way. There's no rivalry if it's one-sided. You can't call something a rivalry if the same side always wins. And that's the thing with gankers versus invaders in this game. The gankers always win. They have to basically nerf themselves to not to lose. Counter-Stung ruined everything. Yeah, what Shao said, what ruined everything is the lower player limit. That's ultimately what ruined everything. The Counter-Stung is a problem too, though. I'll say that too, but like it's the fact that you can't have 3v2s anymore. That's the ultimate problem. You prefer cold infusions over bleed for the OGS? Yes, because you know, with cold, you just use Chilling Mist with it, and you get the Frost proc in basically like 2 hits against most players. And so, like, getting a Frost proc in 2 hits usually mean you have a potential to kill someone within like 3 hits, sometimes 4 hits, sometimes 2 hits, depending on, you know, their HP. Whereas with bleed, it's a little more ambiguous, like you'd have to boost physical damage. Oh yeah, I forgot it's in here. Like with bleed, for instance, you'd be going for, let's say, Bragger, for instance, which is not a bad idea. Let's use Bragger after. Not for the combo, because the combo is not... combo, you have to make a very hard prediction in order to end that combo. Blue's in here. Okay. No bubble bursting. And another blue. Okay, now this got a little more complicated. Insane elevation. I forgot where the way is. I think it's this way. We can't stay here. There's nothing. There it is. That. Yeah, let's go kill the host. Else is booking it, I think. Okay, what's the plan against that? You know what? Doesn't sound like too much of a bad idea. We're almost there. I forgot to have a teammate. Alright, let's just seal up and gank him. He did to us. Teammate. I'm surprised though. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I thought this would counter raptors because it hits multiple times, but it didn't matter. I don't know if you guys saw, but like the raptors kicked in on the first tick, it still didn't hit with the second tick. Like it just still hit him in his iframes, his raptor iframes. So I'm not sure. might be able to just deal with that by just doing club, you know, monkey mash. Is that faster than this? Yeah, it is. Maybe this is better. I don't know. If we face that again, we'll give it a shot. No hot box. All right, got it. Hurry up and take advantage of this knight. Be careful about the host and this hammer. Oh, that's insane lag. That's free. Yo, Steve, thanks for the resub for 29, bro. Welcome back. Appreciate it, man. How do you lightning buff with flame strike? No, it's not a glitch. Just put a strength infusion. We all start somewhere. I'm glitching, you saw it here. The glitch is fun, I'll do it. Yo, Millicent! Thanks for the resub for 8 months, man. It's okay, Keeper. No worries. Just funny. How do you feel about Dragon Halberd? Dragon Halberd used to be good for tumble buffing, but I don't know if there's still a way to do it. If there is, it's probably too complicated to bother. Other than that, like as a weapon in itself, no. The other halberds are just better. He stole my kill. You prefer dex or strength? I prefer strength right now. I think I have the most playtime with this game on dex though, but it was before the DLC. I mean, to be honest, like, I don't really have like that much of a preference. It's just that, you know, Dex and Strength have different pools that are more optimized for their respective builds. But usually they can use the same things, you know what I mean? Like, for instance, if you want to use Flame Strike, you can use Flame Strike on Dex. There's nothing stopping you from doing it. You'll do less damage than Strength. I have a feeling I'll need this here. Harry? Hate my input there. Oh, he tanked the Flame Strike hit. Okay. Hate my input again, that's bad. Guy's net is a little too late net. Good divine there. Yo, baby, jump. That shot was a statement. This is one of those where we can't really do much there, honestly. Let me think of how we want to approach this. Yeah, I think we want this here. We want yeah. Either that and Durham this. One or the other. Favorite part is how they're not going to the boss. Yeah, the host went through. Guy's max level. Oh, we got one before they entered. Yeah, like Steel said, the new DLC Grease like narrowed the damage. Like Lightning and Fusion on Dex used to be the most efficient damage-wise. Not AR, don't confuse that with AR, but damage-wise, because in actual damage, lightning damage is usually the best damage type, because you cannot level up your character to defend against lightning. So lightning defense is the hardest to come by, basically, in this game. and doing split between physical and lightning. If you go for a defense buff, whether it's a crab or a lightning liver, you're still gonna mitigate half the damage. Whereas with pure physical, eating a crab, you'd mitigate like 100%. Like your crab would be 100% effective. That 5% would be 100% effective, whereas on Dex, it's 50% effective, let's say. You get 2.5 like instead of 5. Actually, I forgot how much the crab is. I don't even know if it's 5. But you see what I mean. But to me, like the biggest reason to use strength is really like trusting sword and golem, because strength build is optimized. Like you're gonna have an optimal build if you're using either of those on strength. So like Dex is not as good as at using great bow and at using trusting sword. One thing that would make me switch from strength to Dex would probably be Rakshasa. Because Rakshasa has that unique overpowered strength. Same with Back and Blade. Back and Blade are better on Dex as well. RKR Gugs is essential. I never really use it. I prefer Frost over RKR Gugs. Probably because the moment I need like a sure kill, so to speak, I don't have time to RKR. Like when I need that in like when I need that big damage, it's because I'm in a lot of trouble. Biggest reason to use strength is confusing people with your underwhelming Rakshasa damage. Hey, honestly though, like, here's the thing, right? This game has so much damage that we're used to that insane damage. But with all things considered, you don't need that much damage to make some weapons like effective. Alright, let's see what this guy got. I wasn't sure about this one. This is such a bad spot for PSGS fights. Here you go, here's the RKR. RKR on the main hand though. Not that bad. Will you ever use an Fate or Arcane build anytime soon? Well, the anytime soon, like, I usually don't bother changing build, so I'm not against using any build in particular. It's just that it's a hassle in this game to make builds, so like I don't swap as much because of that. It's very tedious. Arcane though, I'd be interested in playing Arcane again just to revisit the power stance great spears that are best for Arcane, you know, the ones that basically are like super long, do like strength damage, and like bleed and free crouch or a 3-shot. Those are pretty insane. And the Poison Fist. Yeah, Blood Fiend. Blood Fiend are nasty. They're ugly though. That's probably the main reason why I'm not using them. They're fucking ugly. Speaking of ugly, The ugly more. Arcane has a lot of good tools now. Good respawn. We're not going up that ladder because it's basically guaranteed death if they're waiting for us. So if we don't get the proper spawn, it's going to be a black crystal. Because the map doesn't allow us to use the ladder risk-free. Are we up? Dude, I don't even know where this is. Where are we here? The hell? Oh, let's go kill that blue first. He should be by himself. Oh, blue. Okay. Oh. Okay, we don't want to be too stupid here. Let's use something that can stun him. I'm stupid. I lost to this guy. This is so bad. That's my fault. I just played super careless. Like, I just swapped to heavy sword lance, like just thinking like, oh, you know, he can't like R1 trade me, but like I just brain farted, like he can't just do the action, just, you know, trade with DR2 like that. Just, you know, bad play really. I mean, the guy was bad, like, don't get me wrong, I just played extremely poorly. Almost died to, like, 3 people like that today, too. So I guess it's bound to happen at some point if you keep playing bad. It was lagging. Insane shit in it. Insane shit, Net Blue. Yeah, I think we can't go up the ladder here either. Like, we can get up the ladder, but we risk getting one shot on that ladder. There you go, that's a better spawn. Yo, Andrew, how you doing, bro? Honestly, Sword Lance is such a gift for invasions. Like, it definitely makes some invasions easier to manage just because of the completely outrageous damage that it does. I think here. Insane. Please let me two-hand. Wow, that was awful moment. I think crouch attack with two-handed is better, I think. I mean, it always depends on your setup, but like it's more it's a lot more weight efficient. Like if you have two colossals, you're gonna have to make a sacrifice somewhere unless you're over leveled. If you play it like 150 plus, then you don't care about that. But if you play at meta, like if you want two colossals, you're gonna have to make sacrifices. Also, the block canceling is very handy as well. Oh my god. Some things just don't change, guys. Some things don't change. He's just gonna spam that here. On gun, that's disgusting, man. He got cocky? Yeah. The off-brand cheap cola. It's all the same, dude. Like, it doesn't even matter. It's all poison. Oh, this place. See me doing that. Honestly, I should use Ultra more in invasions because people are so aggressive that just having priority and being able to interrupt other hype armors is a huge deal. Like, that alone is very valuable. On your porch, Teach? That's living the life. Alright, Revel. I see what you're doing there. I see you. That's respectable, you know? Decent length. Okay, Mungus wants attention now. Mungus, I know you're here. I see you. Where are we going with this? In here? Wait, so where are they? Oh, there's another pathway. We need to go higher. Nope, we can't go higher. What are we doing exactly? Be above here, I think. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, they're gone. All right, let's respawn. I don't think we're at the right place. That's all your points for the year gone. Good. Okay, there they are. Back in Blade. Let's start. Okay, that's gonna complicate things a little bit. We did that, that's a huge kill. He doesn't care. That was a huge kill, very important one. See very few players using the albinoric font. I mean, because it only works on scrubs, because anyone else would just use what's it called? A brain, a raw meat dumpling. You know, everyone else would just use that, so it would be unreliable. Careful here. I think there's a third one up there as well. As the Rakshasa. He's hiding behind his friend. Funny. I love how the host was trying to hide behind him, and the guy just didn't care. A little Elden Ring moment. So curious, how you doing, man? I haven't seen you in a while. Guys, how long do you think Nightreign will last? How long, guys? What is your guess? Okay, another question actually. How long do you think Nightreign will last? And how long do you think it will take to go through all like the night bosses in Nightreign? 2 weeks before the majority leaves? Two weeks for Nightreign? A month or two? A week? No, not a week. A week's too short. Well, actually, you know, we might get the Tarnished update though. Like a week after that. Oh, it's great. You can't kill this guy anyway because he's an NPC. Are you in still would take a week for Team Asmon 7 years? No, dude. I think it takes less than that for the average player. One day for each end boss? I think we can be faster than that. I think we can go and... I mean, I don't know, like, I think you pick which night boss you do, right? Actually, Steel, I don't know if you're still there, but for an idea for our first content for Nightreign, we could try to beat all these speedrunners at beating Nightreign quicker than them. You know, like beating all the fucking night bosses. Let's all pick fucking Duchess and spam that that broken ass or that broken ass dodge and get some infinite iframe and just revive each other. Tarnish update's gonna bring back real ones. I mean, I'm not sure real ones play Elden Ring, but we happen to play Elden Ring, so... It'd be nice if FromSoft came out with, like... I mean, I was about to say another game, but, like, they've already come out with, like, 2 announcements already. Like, realistically, like, the roadmap is already there. It's just not the best roadmap. God fucking damn it. That's... What a great stupid game. After all these years, that shit is still not fixed. Insane. Oh, full size good net. Okay, how do we deal with that guy? I mean, his net is so bad that I'm thinking this here. Okay. He's lagging with the dragon. Let's keep our health high. I think dueling shield is like probably the very logical choice here. This game is fucking dog shit, dude. Like, seriously. Like, this is unplayable. We got him. Jesus Christ. Like, if this guy had, like, any idea about, like, what the fuck is going on, like, he wouldn't lose that. This is not a good experience. Yeah, this is not getting fixed. Definitely not. No longer in Twitch. No, I'm streaming on both. It was suggested that I start streaming on both, so here we are. For revenue purposes, obviously. Bad net raises time to kill. That's very accurate. So Nightreign is just that one Limgrave map. Yeah, Canuck, it's that one Limgrave map with, like, I think 10 variations. When I say variations, I honestly, I don't even know what they mean. But yeah, it's only that map. Don't know if they have any future plans for it. Maybe, like, if the game sells well, they're gonna, like, release a DLC of some sort. What a smart man. He deserved that. Now he's running to the boss. Oh my god, dude. Oh, what a fucking pussy. Well, that's the mind of a loser, to be fair. Like, losers act exactly like that. Yeah, he knows he won't get anything else. Yeah, he knows. I think that's probably the hardest thing about invading, honestly. It's that the quality of the players you face is so low that at some point, once you've been doing invasions for years, for hours and hours and hours, like, a lot of time your guard is down because you're finding player quality that's just very, very low. So you're like basically playing on autopilot most of the time, not really paying attention. That's a big reason for my deaths in this game, honestly. Especially in this game, because back in Dark Souls 3, like, I was always fighting, like, hardcore gankers. And when I say always, I mean, like, 90% of the time. So I was always, like, on my guard during these invasions, but in Elden Ring, like, 90% of the time you're fighting, like, absolutely horrible players. So, like, at some point your guard gets, you know, you just don't pay as much attention, you read chat, you do whatever. Like, you match the skill of your opponent, almost. So it makes you more prone for, like, errors, basically. Like, today we've actually been playing pretty poorly. Like, we lost 1v1 against someone that was clearly, like, not very good. And we almost lost, like, 2 more 1v1s prior to that versus the same types of players. Also, the game doesn't help that it constantly, like, tests your patience with, like, stuff like hype armor, for instance, whereas you're fighting hype armor and you can't just attack them. You have to wait. You have to wait for the hype armor to finish. You have to wait for them to whiff before you can attack them. There's a lot of that. That's why playing Gugs here is so nice, because you don't have to wait as much with Gugs. Since you have hype armor priority. The entire reason Elden Ring exists is for people that thought previous Souls games were too hard and wanted a power fantasy. I don't know, Zenos. I think the bosses in Elden Ring, some bosses are quite difficult in comparison to other Souls games. I feel like, you know, to give FromSoft their credit, I think they've gotten better and better at bosses. And, you know, to be fair, that's kind of what they're going for. They're not going for better PvP, they're going for better bosses, really. I think they've improved at that. I mean, you don't need to agree with me, but, you know, to give them their due, like... Barely see that guy. No, not this. This. Careful about the dragon cranking something here. There's 3 of them. You have to be extra careful. You can't stand invasions here. I feel you, dude. Me either, honestly. I mean, there's no reason to like these sort of invasions because there's no room to make like good plays or anything like that. You're just cramped up, really. You're at the mercy of whatever they're doing. Oh yeah, absolutely. I agree that, you know, despite the bosses being like, let's say, more intricate in Elden Ring, that like the tools that Elden Ring gives to the players makes it a lot more brain dead. Like for instance, like fighting bosses with dueling shield, for instance, right? Or fingerprint shield poking. That's pretty brain dead, right? You can absolutely cheese bosses that way. Or like, you know, just spamming spells at range, spamming jumping attacks, staggering the bosses over and over. Even the Spirit Ash, for, you know, for that matter. Like, I see exactly what you mean. I agree with that. I definitely think that you guys are right in saying that Elden Ring definitely had like some sort of push for appealing to the broader audience more, as opposed to the more hardcore direction, if you may, that the older Souls games had. Because I think the devil is in the detail, right? With the older Souls game, the gaming landscape was different. It's always different. And with older Souls game, if we take the older Souls games in comparison to what was out there, what was expected of a game like this, it evolves over time. And back in the Dark Souls days, Dark Souls was a much more hardcore game in comparison to what was coming out around it, as opposed to what Elden Ring is doing now, even though the bosses in Elden Ring are technically more difficult to learn like pattern-wise than the Dark Souls 1 bosses. But in the landscape, the gaming landscape of the time, Dark Souls 1 was more hardcore compared to what was around it. I don't know if you follow me, if you guys follow me in what I'm saying. I think the way Elden Ring plays is a consequence of the open world design. Well, some things are, like for instance, the insane lock-on range that Elden Ring has. Let's find an enemy here. Like the insane lock-on range, that's a design decision due to the open world, for sure. Um, you could even say maybe even the jumping. Maybe the jumping even could be related to that. Because in an open world like that, you can't like afford to not have rocky structures, and by the nature of things, rocky structures are very uneven, so you need a good jump button to go around terrain. So that's like almost a logistic problem for open world, so you need a jump. So we could say that the open world introduced the lock-on to Elden Ring and introduced maybe even the jumping. What else? As far as like gameplay, I mean the horse obviously, but everything else, I mean everything else is very similar to the previous games, really. Like the crouch is just it could have been done with any sort of setting, so it has nothing to do with open world. Alright, let's see here. He survived for a little bit too long for my taste. Lock on range should have been nerfed in PvP. Well, that's an interesting idea. Personally, I'm not a fan of inconsistencies within a game. And what I mean by that is, like, for instance, yeah, that's another mechanic that's there because of the open world, the stamina bar that does not, like, that basically, the stamina that doesn't get consumed outside of combat. I hate that shit. Like to me, like, it's so, like, unimmersive, like, to the highest level. It's like you can run infinitely, but the moment you're in combat, it's like, you know, you start you start to lose breath. I hate inconsistencies like that. Like, you know, if you want to have no stamina, then design your game for no stamina. If you want a stamina bar, then fucking let the stamina bar be. But a lot of people like that stuff, you know, the no stamina out of combat, so that they can run around the whole world. But that links to another problem, right? It's like, okay, so if you stamina consumes one out of combat, then it takes you longer to traverse the world. Well, how about that? Like, I think this fucking world is empty and spread out thin instead of being packed with content. It's just spread thin for the sake of being big, where there's fucking emptiness all over the place. They could have gotten away with making the game a lot smaller and a lot more compact and a lot more interesting, and they would not have needed that. Obviously, it's a different direction. I think it's a smarter direction. That's my opinion, but no. Everyone's entitled to see this sort of stuff however they want, but I stand by that. And yes, that is what the horse is for, too. Yeah, I agree, Daylight. That's how I feel. Like, the open world in this game is too big. You know, it's... And, you know, I understand why they're going for it. Like, you guys remember when the first time you played this game, you're opening the map and you're like, holy shit, the map still gets bigger? But it's really just that. It's for the illusion of content. That's all there is to it. The big map is there for the illusion of giving you content and exploration. Because at the end of the day, you can explore as much as you want. There is nothing around the rock and around that corner all the way back there in the open world. It's empty. There's nothing. There's nothing to look for. There's nothing to see. You're not missing anything. It's empty. It's terribly designed. It's worthless. It's all worthless, the whole open world. It's just there to give you the illusion of content. Where the content and the fun and the meat of the bone is, it's in the legacy dungeons. And I mean, quite frankly, it makes sense because that's where the experience and the deliberate handcrafted level design are. Like, if you think the open world is handcrafted, it's not. It's procedurally made for the most part. And so, like, you have something that procedurally generated, no wonder that it feels like shit. If you take the stuff that has been made by someone who placed everything individually, then it starts to be a lot more fun because there's thought that was put behind the placement of each object. So it's very logical, really. That's a good kill. Oh, that wasn't the hole still. And hose is dead. And also, to be perfectly honest, like the horse is not really a big positive for this game all around. Like the horse does not really add like any interesting gameplay or interesting mechanics really. The horse is there to fix a problem that they've created. The horse is just there to make sure that traversing this overstretched world is not as tedious than it would be on foot. Yeah, exactly, Xenos. It's a solution for a self-inflicted wound or a self-inflicted problem. Because if you compact the map a lot more, you don't even need the horse in the first place. And you get content everywhere, all over the place. You don't need to run around for like minutes to get from like one camp to another. It's like, I don't know about you guys, but I think I have the perfect example of the point I'm talking about right now. Here. Check this out. When we first played the DLC area, how many of you guys dreadfully went here on your first run and had like some of the worst gaming experience? Just because, you know, you're a sucker for exploration, it's so big, like you want to make sure you're not missing anything. And so you started exploring this whole garbage area here. I explored this whole thing, I found nothing. Like, what a waste of time. And I mean, why is it so big if there's actually nothing to do in that place? Like, that's terrible design, guys. That's what we mean when we said, like, everything is spread, like, with emptiness. Like, we actually spent 20 minutes exploring this whole thing the first time we played the DLC. And there was really nothing. There's actually nothing in there. It's all empty. There's nothing to look for. And, you know, this is one of the worst example of the game. But, like, to be honest, like, it's really the same for the most part for, like, pretty much everywhere in the open world except some, like, location of interest and obviously the legacy dungeons, whereas when it comes to the legacy dungeons, like here, for instance, like, you're having a good time. When you're playing the legacy dungeons, you're like, holy shit, like, you know, there's always something around the corner, like, I have to look everywhere to not miss, you know, an interesting item. You know, the legacy dungeons are where the fun's at. Like, this place here was amazing. Going through this area for the first time, fucking loved it. This place was sick. I really liked it. And it's not even that I have something against open world, because one could say, well, maybe you're not the type of guy who enjoys open world. Maybe you prefer more linear games. You know, it would be like a fair comment that someone could make in response to that, because again, to each their own. But actually, I feel like when you take a game like Skyrim, which came out, you know, earlier than Elden Ring, and Skyrim has a lot of weaknesses, especially combat, but when it comes to how they laid out the map itself, like, you're never really far from a point of interest in Skyrim. You don't have to walk as much as, let's say, in Elden Ring to find something interesting. It's not perfect, it's not that amazing, but it's definitely done better than in Elden Ring. Just the way the points of interest are laid out. Because it's closer together and there's always something interesting nearby. Whereas Elden Ring is mostly emptiness that's not even worth exploring. What's your favorite legacy dungeon? Actually, we are in it right now. Shadow Keep is my favorite one. Like, Shadowkeep right there. That's my favorite legacy dungeon. But to be fair, there's a lot of really cool legacy dungeons in this game. A lot of really good ones. Like Stormveil is a lot of fun. Like Stormveil is a very nice castle. I mean, to be honest, like to give, you know, because people think I'm just shitting on FromSoft just to shit on them. To give FromSoftware their credit, they're really good at making castles. Like if you think about all their games, all their castles, name me one castle that was not like fucking amazing. Like the only ones you could come up with are like the castles in this game that are like smaller in scale, like Castle Soul or like Morn's Castle, right? But they're not legacy dungeons. They're basically mostly just points of interest. Like the real legacy dungeons, like fucking the Hallig Tree, Stormveil, like Shadowkeep, or what's the name of this place? Belrat. You know, these places are great. You know, who didn't like their time spent in these areas? You know, if you like FromSoftware game, you probably really enjoyed those areas, I think. Yeah, Drang Lake, you know, FromSoftware is really good at making castles. Drain Lake Castle was meh. Okay, so you disagree with Drain Lake Castle. I'm gonna be honest, I haven't played Dark Souls 2 in too long, so I don't even remember. Yeah, the capital was very interesting too. Good point. Yeah. And I mean, even the dragon area here, which was not necessarily my favorite, but it's not bad by any means. Like, FromSoft is really good at making castles, man. I mean, to be fair, FromSoft is really good at level design. The reason why the open world kind of sucks is that it's not actually level design. It's procedural. There's not someone that goes in there and thoughtfully makes decisions as to where is what. The only decisions are made like on a broader scale. And unfortunately, because it's their first open world game, they probably realized that they spread themselves too thin, I think. And I think I've heard in other interviews that they're trying to go back to a little smaller games. I mean, it could be for various reasons, like it doesn't really have anything to do necessarily with them thinking that they spread themselves too thin with the open world. Like it could, I mean, it's most likely due to logistics because it takes years, it takes a lot of work, it's very complicated to make these big games, so going with slightly smaller games makes more sense. But yeah, either way. Just beat Dark Souls 3 for the first time. It feels pretty much perfect. Yeah, Dark Souls 3 was a lot of fun. I mean, Dark Souls 3 is my favorite Souls game. But I mean, I played that game to death. Like, my favorite game of all times is Rainbow Six Vegas 2. But I mean, I played that game to death. Like, and when I say to death, like we're talking like 10,000 plus hours. Played that game for like 8 years. As much as I love that game, like at some point, even if you like a game so much, it's time to move on at some point. Dark Souls 3 is among that. Like, you know, played that game to death for 6 years. And when Elden Ring came out, it was time to move on. And it's going to be the same when the next big FromSoftware game comes along. You know, the one that has PvP, obviously, not some Sekiro bullshit or some no PvP Nightreign. But when the next big thing comes along, we'll move on from Elden Ring to that next big thing. Although it's not going to feel as bad to leave Elden Ring behind, that's for sure. It didn't feel bad to leave Dark Souls 3 behind, to be fair, because Dark Souls 3 was in a very poor state when Elden Ring launched. I mean, it is today. Like, people forget. Like, Elden Ring introduced some really unfortunate things that frustrated players, but it made a lot of people forget a lot of the bullshit that was in Dark Souls 3, or any of the previous games for that matter. Like, the cheating in Dark Souls 3 got to a point where the game was not really fun anymore. Like, the glitches basically took over the game for the most part. Which is unfortunate. And you know, even glitches aside, like the balance in Dark Souls 3 where there's really two weapons that dominate the whole tiers, you know, with PK Murky, it definitely doesn't feel as good. I say PK Murky, obviously there's, you know, crossbows in there, like Soul Mass cheese in there, Fire Surge cheese in there, but you guys see what I mean. Even though Elden Ring has that as well, I feel like Elden Ring has a little more outplay potential against, like, let's say you're fighting a two-handed thrusting sword with BHS. Maybe you're gonna get shitted on if you have an ultra, but if you have let's say a shield and a dagger, you know, you're gonna do pretty well against the thrusting sword. Like, it might even be a counter for that matter. So like you see already there, like, you think maybe the thrusting sword is like murky, but it's not. It's really not. There are counters to it. And even, let's say, like a PSGS player, if you get the TS into a vortex, it can be GG with one vortex, you know? If you get heavily outplayed, it's possible. So at least Elden Ring has that, you know, throughout its flaws. You care about the lore in these games at all? I don't. I play these games for the gameplay. One thing that I do care about that's important to me, that will be very secondary for some, is the character customization. I really like the build making in games, the character customization, the fashion. That's one thing that I hate about Elden Ring, is that the fashion is like very ass. Like, if you want your character to look good, first of all, you're gonna have very little options, and second of all, you're gonna do that at heavy detriment to your gameplay, meaning that if you don't reach the poise break points, you're gonna lose matchups, not because you played worse or not because your weapon is worse, but simply because you don't have enough poise for that matchup. So that's very unfortunate, like very unfortunate. I hate that. This game has 5 armor sets that everyone used. There's also the fact that personally, you know, that's just personal preference. You know, there's some people that prefer like the weeb katana style. There's some people that prefer like the rogue assassin type style. There's some people that prefer the ugly ass mage robes, you know, and people like me that prefer more of like a knight look. But, you know, look at me right now, dressed like a fucking clown. Just because dressing like a knight in this game usually means like you're gonna be at a disadvantage, or the knight armor that you're speaking of is going to be like somewhat ugly. Okay, let's pay attention here. You have to be very mindful here, because we can't ignore either one of them. That's the thing. You're excited for the new heavy armor? You hope it's viable? Yep, same here. Solitude is your fashion lifesaver? Yeah, I agree with you. Like, for instance, going back to like Solitude, like as much as I like Solitude, the defense on Solitude for the weight is actually pretty bad. And I mean, we already knew that, but the fact that the DLC introduced these overpowered helmets that gives an insane amount of stats that I really don't like, because you're like, the game almost forces you to use them, otherwise you're putting yourself at a huge disadvantage. Like, you're missing out on so many points if you don't use these. Very, very unfortunate, because like, it statistically it just pushes you toward ugly stuff, and if you don't use it, well, you just lost 8 points, 7 points, you know. How much do you enjoy the PvE in this game? I actually enjoy it. Like, sometimes, I haven't done it in a while, but sometimes off stream I'll just boot up the game and just like carry a few scrubs through a boss. Like, most of the time I carry them through Moog. And I actually enjoy it. I enjoy carrying someone through a boss. Like, I think it's a lot of fun. Like, after, you know, your reward is seeing them do these like happy, cheesy gestures or pointing down the boss. Like, I think it's funny. Like, I get a kick out of that. I haven't done it in a while, but that's something I enjoy. Like, I'm very fond of like the co-op of these games. I really like the co-op. I wish, though, problem with like co-op in games like these, it's that it's too easy for someone like me. Like, when you start doing co-op, like, and you try your best, right? What's fun is when the boss is challenging when you're fighting with your buddies, right? So, for instance, when we did the DLC, like, genuinely, guys, by the way, our first playthrough of the DLC, like, low-key, we played better than all the speedrunners out there. Like, we beat bosses in less attempt than all these speedrunners. Obviously, they're never gonna put their first run, you know, on their channel because they look like shit. But, like, I have, like, the best blind run for this game of any recorded player on YouTube. Like, genuinely. With that being said, like, I don't spend time practicing bosses or anything like that, but for the first time that you fight a boss, like, some of your core skills come into play a lot more, your game knowledge as well. And so, like, someone who's really good at PvP, like me, like Steel, or, you know, some other good players, will look a lot better than these speedrunners that basically rely on, like, knowing everything about the boss. Like, they need a blueprint to beat them, otherwise their fundamental skills are too low to be able to adapt as fast. They're still gonna beat it, you know, but not as fast. So with that being said, like, one thing that I really enjoyed about the Elden Ring DLC was doing the DLC with chat with no Skadoodoo. So, like, not upgrading any of the Skadoodoo from the DLC and going, like, to each bosses with on no Skadoodoo with 3 players in the world, so they're even more tanky. That was fun. That was a lot of fun, because you end up in situations where you get your whole squad trying hard, doing their best, you know, using all the cheese tactics, whether it's fingerprint, whether it's like status, you name it. But the bosses are still challenging despite you trying to edge the game as much as possible. That's what I find fun. I really like that. So that was a lot of fun with the DLC, like doing it at no Skadoodoo with chat, because it was also challenging. It was not just like free, really. Good fight. Like, for instance, the most memorable fight that I had, like most memorable co-op fight, was when we did the sunflower on no Skadoodoo. Like, you'd think, what, the sunflower? Like, that's an easy boss. We all thought that too, but man, that thing at no Skadoodoo with 3 players in the world, that thing is so tanky. It is so tanky. And what was crazy is the whole team, and like, it all devolved in, like, it was actually so hard to finish that boss that we all devolved into playing with like shield and triple shot status crossbow. Like, it devolved into that, and it was actually so much fun. Like, I loved that. It was really cool, and I'm hoping that we're gonna get a little bit of that in Nightreign. That's what I'm hoping for, that we get a little bit of that, you know, that challenging co-op in Nightreign. I said I'm hoping because, quite frankly, the network test showed me that all the bosses were way too easy, and it was not really like the only way you would have made that like as challenging would have been to basically like nerf yourself. Now, you know, the full game's not out. They definitely have tweaked some things. I'm eager to see like what they have changed in terms of difficulty and all that stuff regarding bosses, but I certainly don't expect the Nightreign bosses to be as hard as like the Nintendoodoo bosses in the DLC, really. Didn't you chainsaw Bale the funny? I mean, we did multiple runs. But for my first run, I did not cheese any boss. Didn't use Fingerprint. Didn't use Endure except for the last boss, like Radon. That's the only one where I'd say like we used a little more cheesy tactic. But like, there's a lot of bosses in this game that I first tried so for the DLC. Just by outplaying them, really. You know, no shield, no Endure. HP sponge bosses are so much fun with friends. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, Deluxe, I agree with you there. Yeah, I agree. Because, like, good bosses, like, let's say Pontiff, like in your example, like you said, like, you could basically, like, beat Pontiff purely out of just, like, you know, trading and just going through all your Estus, as opposed to learning its moves. And, you know, outplaying the boss properly. But obviously, these games are also made for the lowest common denominator in terms of skills. Like, they don't want people to leave the game because they can't beat a boss because they don't want to learn how to play the game or whatever. You know, at the end of the day, it's still aimed at people that just want to relax on the couch and play something that's a little more challenging than just mashing buttons, but it's also like not too hard. I think that's probably the sweet spot that FromSoft's going for. Very good fight, Mungus. That was pretty close, actually. Good fight, Mungus. You almost got me there. Dusklord Mungus to be exact. Was once Night Lord Mungus, went to Dusklord. Mungus, when are we gonna start calling it a curse when you change your name to a game and the game becomes like exactly what we don't want it to be? Like, Mungus, I don't think you should change your name for the next From Software game, just in case that's a thing, you know? I don't want you to jinx us. As for those of you who didn't know, Mungus actually changed his name like the day the Nightreign trailer released. He changed his name like not just the date released, the trailer released, like the minute the trailer released. Like, we were all so excited. We didn't know what Nightreign was going to be. Mungus thought it was going to be like some DLC or some other, you know, Elden Ring like game. It ends up being like, you know, a non-PvP game. And after that, you regretted that he called himself Night Lord Mungus. And so when Duskblood got announced, he did the exact same thing, was excited, didn't know anything about the game, thought it was going to be like, you know, the next thing. Then we learned that it's fucking Switch 2 exclusive. And now he's probably gonna change his name again for whatever comes next. Shit's so funny. God damn it, man. That's why we like Mungus so much. Wait. I don't know if we're going the right way, honestly. Yeah, we're not. We drank our physics. Like, honestly, like, I'm not a big fan of these dungeons. Let's just move on from this one. We went the wrong way. So be it. Guys, he likes me? Yes, I do like you, actually. I've never really watched PvP in these games. What made you get into it? Seems like such a specific interest. That's actually a good question, to be honest, because like you said, it is kind of niche. And my background, like gaming wise, right, has really nothing to do with these sort of games. So, I mean, I don't mind sharing that. Like, how I started playing Souls game, so like, at first, like, you know, I've always been playing, like, a bunch of different games. Like, you know, everyone started playing whatever. The game that, you know, it's not the first game I played by a long shot, but the game that made me fall in love with gaming was the first Rainbow Six Vegas. Like, this is where I was like, holy shit, like, this is so good. Like, this is the game that made me feel something the most. Shooting game, tactical shooting game, extremely skill focused, tactical focused. PvP in this game is fucking amazing. Like, I loved the Rainbow Six Vegas game and Vegas 2. Vegas 2 is where I really pushed that passion and made something more out of it. I became a pro player in Rainbow Six Vegas 2, even won a championship with my team. It wasn't my team, it was a friend of mine's team, but, you know, I was in it. I was a big part of why we won that championship. And, you know, won other tournaments for Rainbow Six, and I keep that game close to my heart. It's what drove me to start with. And so after that, I was always into different sort of games. You know, I liked I like different types of games, like a lot of you. Like one genre of games that I liked was the mech games, and so I was into Armored Core from back into the PlayStation 2 days. I was really into Armored Core 2nd gen, 3rd gen, and I was really into the Armored Core series. And when I think it was Armored Core 5 came along, like a friend that I was playing with was like, you know, like you like these mech games. Do you know? Have you ever heard of these Dark Souls games? Like I think you'd really like it. You know, it's by the same studio that makes these Armored Core games. And that friend of mine basically got me to try Dark Souls 2. And, you know, from my competitive like mindset and background, I started playing those with not much thought put into it. You know, just as how you would enjoy any game, really. And I got introduced to the PvP, and I was like, you know what? You know, there's something to it here. Like, there is skill expression in that game. Like, it's not just a mindless hack and slash where skills is irrelevant. Like, you can dead angle in Dark Souls 2. Like, you can do, like, criticals. Like, there's so many maneuvers and stuff you can do. So, Dark Souls 2 kickstarted the whole, like, Souls journey, but I never really got into the PvP, like, as much as I did in Dark Souls 3. So when Dark Souls 3 got announced, I was like, you know what? Like, I love Dark Souls 2. I'm really hoping that Dark Souls 3 is great. So got it day one, and I really loved Dark Souls 3. I felt like Dark Souls 3 improved upon a lot of things that Dark Souls 2 did. And I got into it, and, you know, eventually became, like, pretty much the best at Dark Souls 3, winning, like, a bunch of tournaments throughout all the eras. And I looked at it as like more in a competitive lens because of my background, because the game allowed you to be skillful. And obviously, though, the more you get into these games, the more you see the flaws, the more you understand them. So it's also a double-edged sword, because the more I started to hate certain aspects of it, like certain decisions that the developers had made that were a detriment to the game, that people who did play the game understood, but the developers did not understand because they did not play to the same extent. So that's how, like, the whole, like, love-hate relationship started with these old Souls games. But with that being said, that's pretty much how I started getting into the PvP for Souls games, really. In the meantime, you know, I played plenty of other games, like the guy that came in earlier, for those who were there, like Kyle, who was there earlier, I actually won some For Honor tournaments with him at launch. Like, we won some MLG tournaments for Honor when For Honor came out. Okay, let's focus on this here. Oh, flip me. Not sure about that. Insane Moonveil spam. Let's play that one carefully. Oh, never mind. Okay, well. Thoughts on the cancer that is Dark Souls 1 PvP? It's funny because I played Dark Souls 1 after Dark Souls 2. So after I played Dark Souls 2, I visited Dark Souls 1 basically, and to see what it was all about. I thought it was really cool, but I'm one of those that thinks that FromSoft were, like, for the most part, improved from one entry to the next. Like, I see Dark Souls 2 as having better PvP than Dark Souls 1, and Dark Souls 3 having better PvP than Dark Souls 2 and 1. And then Elden Ring also has, like, even if people hate when I say that, Elden Ring also has a lot of mechanics that are better than all the other games. It's just that in every single one of these entries, there's still people that like the older games, because every time they've improved upon something, they also took a step back in some other aspects. So, like, there's always something that's worse in the newer game that was done better in the older game. For instance, like, something that they've improved upon in Dark Souls 1 was genuinely, like, how the backstab were handled, because it was extremely related to, like, the backstab was basically, like, so correlated to latency, because you basically had to account for the latency that was between you and your opponent, and you account for that by the distance at which you were keeping between you and your opponent. so that you could prevent them from getting a backstab on you before you could like see it coming on your screen. So like at very high latency, like Dark Souls 1 played like dog shit. But at low latency, it played well. But obviously, like, they've improved upon the formula here and there, but like in aspects where the game like got worse, let's take Elden Ring for an obvious one. Like, you know, they reduced the player limit, which is a big no-no. So Dark Souls 3, some players like it more than Elden Ring because you can actually do 2v3 invasions in Dark Souls 3. So fundamentally, that's a big deal compared to what Elden Ring has. Even though Elden Ring has more like combat mechanics with the crouch, with the jumping, you know, the different ash, like it has more variety there, but it's not all better in every way. It's the same for a lot of aspects. Like you could say like dead angling, for instance, in Dark Souls 1 and 2 was something that was better than in Dark Souls 3 and Elden Ring. Like dead angling was a skillful mechanic that FromSoft removed over time. This guy is going places. Come on, game. Better with eel there. That's worth a little poo-poo on the nose. Like with everything that I just said, there's legitimate reasons why people prefer like some of the older entries because again, like even though FromSoft for the most part improves upon each one of their games, they always take a step back in some way. Like another thing that I like about let's say Dark Souls 2 that I find it baffling that they did not keep that mechanic was Bonfire Ascetic. Bonfire Ascetic basically were things that you burned at the bonfire or the site of grace, which reset the whole world and put it into like another new game. So what happened, well, didn't reset the whole world, but reset the whole area. So like for instance, if I was to use a Bonfire Ascetic here at this site of grace, well then, you know, the area that was within that grace, so let's say this area forward here, would get to New Game +1, and then all the items would get respawned basically as if you were in a new playthrough. And so that made it so, let's say, farming materials, getting slabs, redoing bosses was a lot more doable and a lot more convenient, and also it was a lot more fun to be able to replay a boss by burning stuff like that than to have to replay the whole game in order to be able to replay that boss. So like that to help with boss fights, and that also helped greatly with activity, because keep in mind, if I really like this this Rhino boss here, right? If I really like this boss and I want to replay it, I'd have to replay the whole game to get back to this spot. That would take hours and hours. Like the game can easily take like if you don't know like speed runs to do the like to go through to play the game, like this game can take 100 hours to complete to reach that spot. So just being able to like burn a an effigy here or Bonfire Ascetic and then reset the boss. Here you're able to have the whole area be reset, and you're able to replay the boss with your buddies as many times as you want, and it gets progressively harder as you do that. I think that mechanic is fucking brilliant. I love the bonfire aesthetic, both from a co-op point of view, from a single player point of view as well, because if you're farming Titanite slabs, well, you just burn a bonfire aesthetic in that area, and then you replay this whole area where the slabs are located, and that way you can farm slabs by just replaying certain areas instead of having to replay the whole game. And so that's from the single player point of view. And then from the PvP point of view, well, it just helps greatly with activity. So from every point of view, whether it's co-op, whether it's PvP, whether it's single player, bonfire aesthetic were such a brilliantly designed mechanic that I have no idea why FromSoft ditched that mechanic in Dark Souls 3 and in Elden Ring. Because it does not make sense from a design perspective, because there are no downsides to that. It's really only upsides. So it's decisions like that that makes me question, like, what the hell are they doing at FromSoft? Because anyone who actually spends time with the game, plays the game, understands the game, they see these things. So a lot of time, like these quote-unquote creative geniuses like Miyazaki and whatever, they don't really care or play the game as much as the players. They don't love it as much. They don't know as much. And so, like, people like to put them on a pedestal, but they don't know any better. They clearly don't, and you see it. The proof is in the pudding. You see it in their decisions. And so, that's why I'm very critical of these, because if you don't mention these things, I mean, it's never going to get back in there, because they don't know, ultimately, like, everything about these games. Like, so that's why it's important to mention them. It's important to have this, like, thoughtful criticism. And it's also important to not shut it down, because a lot of time when I bring these conversation, you know, I get shit on by basically fanboys, you know, like the whole rhetoric, like, oh, you know, always complaining, you know, blah, 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 like, you know, the whole brain dead, you know, like, spiel. But it's true, like, if you don't bring up these issues, it's not going to change. Because ultimately, even though they don't necessarily know everything about these games, FromSoft is still, despite what people think, is still listening to the broad conversation about their game. Even if they're Japanese and they don't speak English, a lot of times when you get something that's very, like, talked about in the community, they'll address it. They're not, like, oblivious to what the player base want. So yeah, that's my point. Yo, Castle, how you doing, bro? That's the copium about Duskblood getting a PC port. Dude, I hope we're gonna see Duskblood being, like, ported to other platforms. Like, I hope it's only a time exclusive. And also, you know, guys, like, just to add one last thing, you know, it's not because I say these things that FromSoft is bad and everything and Miyazaki is stupid. No, like, the guy is, like, a creative genius. It's just that he does not hold all the answers gameplay-wise. And so do the people that work for him. Because we see it. Again, the proof is in the pudding. But, you know, you can't also take away the good things that they're doing. Like, for instance, no one really talked about introducing a jump mechanic or a crouch mechanic into Souls games. Yet, it's one of the best thing that happened to Elden Ring was the introduction of those two mechanics. Oh my god, he didn't take any damage. So, like, you have to give them credit where credit is due. We always make sure to mention those. But the moment you speak, the moment you're not always 100% positive about them, you always get these people that jump on the bandwagon of, like, you know, you're just complaining, you know, blah blah blah, that sort of stuff. I think this guy's net is okay. It seems normal right now. Oh my god, that's good to know. You saw that? It breaks in one, and we had the Great Shield Talisman. But we can't actually do that. That's very interesting. Okay, that's very interesting. I think he knows his connection is shit, though. Okay, Okay, the boss is dead. Good. We won't have to deal with that. We learned something there, though. Like, that Ash actually breaks shields in one. That's good to know. It's always good to know, like, different things that break guard. Your friend's a Redditor that loves to hate on this game and he doesn't like me either. Well, I mean, some people are straight stupid, you know, you can't help with that. You know, just being a Redditor is like, a Redditor just doesn't do you're not doing yourself any favor if you spend your time on Reddit or like forums and you feel the need to like comment online about stuff. I don't hold these people very highly. But you know, From Software will listen to stuff that's out there, so not completely useless. You use the PS4 the PS5 version of Elden Ring on PS5? No, the PS4. Like, you don't want the PS5 version. This game runs too poorly. What is dead angling? It's an older concept from like older Souls game where you can angle the direction of your swing in a different direction than where your target is to hit your opponent from a different angle and count the hit as if it was coming from behind, for instance. And so you can like basically like hit through shield, for instance. You can hit through shield, for instance, by like let's say angling at the last second like that. It was a really cool mechanic. It also made it so that you could do a running attack at different angles, for instance, and you got a different timing depending on the angle of your running attack. Let me actually like show it real quick. By the way, that doesn't exist in this game, like, or very, very little. But the reason that existed in older games was partly because the hitbox followed the full trajectory of a weapon, whereas in this game it's much less the case. Like, for instance, when you're swinging a curved greatsword like that, like, you see the animation of the curved greatsword, like, it goes like around in front, a little bit to the right, and then it curves all the way to your back. So when you look at the sword, see how it curves all the way to your back? But the actual hitbox of this attack is really just a small, like, small spot in front of you. It doesn't actually go all the way behind you. Whereas in previous games, usually the hitbox would be the full swing. And so you'd be able to hit someone with the end of the tip of your sword. So like if you hit someone, like let's say that was this cage here. If you hit someone with like this, for instance, like you hit them with the back of your, or the end of your swing. You try to, or like this. Try to have it not back like that. So here you didn't see any sparkles. That's because there's no hitbox there, but our blade clipped this little part of the cage. So in previous games, you would have gotten a hit, not this one, this one. You would have gotten a hit like here, at the end of your swing. Now you're getting it at the start, but like right there, for instance. But the hitbox doesn't exist here for that to happen. But in previous game, you would have gotten like a hit on that cage at the end of your swing. Like that. This one, not this one. That's how you'd get like dead angles, for instance. So that mechanic made it so that it introduced like another layer of skills to these games. Even though it was clearly not intended, it added to the gameplay. It made the gameplay more fun and rewarding. And dead angling, I would say, like, started to get removed mostly in Dark Souls 3. So, like, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 1, and Demon Souls had more of a focus on dead angling. And so that's something that they did better than Dark Souls 3 and Elden Ring, for instance. Well, This guy sure looks comfortable. Yeah, it did also counter parries too. Like, you know, someone that would parry spam, you'd be able to dead angle your weapon so it wouldn't get parried. You'd be able to like hit against shields or hurdles. But you know, it wasn't as easy. Like you saw, like I was having trouble like hitting the cage the right way, right? So that the back of the blade like still hit the cage. It was true in real fights too. Like it was not as easy as just hitting your target with dead angles. You had to aim it properly. You had to be thoughtful about your movement. Like I said, it was something that was skillful. It added skills to the game. For DSR, they removed dead angle, but they kept the buggy mess. Yeah, that's unfortunate, honestly. Yeah, DSR removed dead angles. Wait, is that Mungus? It is. Alright, Mungus, tell me if you managed to beat the boss. If you say you died, I'll believe you, and if you say that you beat it, I won't. By the way, guys, we reached the wow, look at that. That crab was queued from before the cutscene. But yeah, guys, we're gonna end the stream here. We've been at it for 3 hours. Lots of talking there toward the end, but wasn't that bad, honestly. A pretty alright stream. At the end of the day, you know, it's I take streams like that where there's not like too much going on. Like it's still pretty chill. I enjoy like these discussions. So guys, thank you everyone for coming by. Really appreciate it. And I'm still on the fence here if I want to hop on Demon Soul, or not Demon Souls, fucking Oblivion, or if I want to get off. I think I'm gonna get off because I'm hungry, so I'm gonna go eat something. So yeah, guys, thanks everyone for coming by. The YouTube and the Twitch chatters, take it easy, everyone, and I'll catch you guys up next time. Right, take care, guys. Let's see who's on right now. Okay. Let's see. We're gonna rate someone on Twitch because I have no idea how that works on YouTube. Okay, let's rate Alluvial. Or we could rate Sharkbait. Shark is cool too. Let's see what they're doing. Whoever is doing PvP will rate them. Alluvial's playing with the cam. Oh, he's playing on PC. What about Shark? If Shark is doing invasions, well, we're gonna raid Shark for today. You know, I would raid them both. Love both of them, but trying to mix it up a little bit and not raiding the same people. Alright, let's raid Shark today, I guess. Alright, take care, guys. Have a good night, Mungus. Sweet babies. Take it easy, man.